So I'd like to welcome you to our webinar. And today we are going to be talking about life management. And I love this little cartoon. If you waste your time sitting on the fence, you'll end up going nowhere. And in the brief time you have left, and then, of course, there's a danger risk of splinters in delicate regions. So we don't want anybody to be sitting around procrastinating. We want to make sure that you're moving forward. And that's the purpose of these monthly coaching webinars, so that you are truly using what you learn at the Marketing Mastery Seminar. I also want to avoid you feeling isolated so that you don't feel like you're the only agent out there struggling to really build a marketing-driven real estate business. Also, to hold yourself accountable so that you are taking progressive steps. Also, to give you new ideas on how to make sure that you're doing things effectively. So that's what these conference calls are all about. Today, my book of the month is truly an outstanding book on what I call time life management. This is truly, I think, the most effective book I've ever read on getting things done. David Allen has written a number of books on time management, life management, and I think they're the most practical books that I've read on the subject. A lot of the things that we're going to talk about today are going to come from this book, intermixed with the things that I've accumulated over the last 30, 40 years, and then some philosophies from Jim Rohn. Is the art of life management. And life management is so critically important because this is how we really get the most out of each and every day. Now, as we talk about life management, time management, I want to make sure that you're a student, not a follower. Make sure that what you do and why you do it is the product of your own conclusion, not because I said it, not because you read it in a book, not because you heard it somewhere. I want you to really study and make sure that whatever you decide to do is the product of your own conclusion. Read 3 or 4 books, listen to 3 or 4 people, and then think it through for yourself, because it's important to be a student, not a follower, so that you're really making decisions, because this is how your life is going to turn out. And this is critically important. The first thing we need to realize this morning is this: there is no such thing as time management. We all have the same amount of time. Rich people, poor people, sad people, we all have 24 hours each and every day. The only thing that we can decide is how we are going to invest the 24 hours that we get each and every day. Now, when I went to work for Jim Rohn, he said, rich people and poor people have the same 24 hours each and every day. But it seems like rich people, successful people, get a lot more done in that 24 hours. This drove me crazy for a long time. I thought, gosh, if we have the same amount of time, why is it that some people get so much more out of it? And the first thing I want you to realize is that since we can't really manage time, think about it this way. At the end of the day, we can't say, oh my goodness, I saved up 5 minutes that I didn't want to use earlier on, so I have an extra 5 minutes at midnight. See, that would be time management. We could save 5 minutes, 10 minutes here, and now use them whenever you wanted to. What we can think of is activity management. What activities do you want to do with each and every day of your life? Each day, we decide on how to use our time. We can waste it, kill it, use it, invest it. But the key thing to remember is that we can never even get a single second back once that day is past. Start by looking at what you did yesterday. And yesterday was probably a weekend, so go back to last week, last Friday. Look at each working day of the last week and ask yourself, what did I do each week last week? And ask yourself, if you did the same thing every day for the next year, where would that take you? Because this is really an important concept. Now, what you actually did every day of your work week last week reveals about the truth about what is valuable to you in your life. This was a hard lesson for me to learn, because When I went to work for Jim, he'd say, what are your priorities? Well, having work-life balance, being successful. But then he'd make me review my days and say, okay, today you said this was important, but you did this. And I found that I didn't always do the things that were truly what I said was really important to me. And he said, until you understand that what you do is an expression of your most important values, you're going to fake yourself out. You'll delude yourself. You'll tell yourself, gosh, my family, my marriage is really important, but you don't take the time of it. You don't give it the investment. If you do not feel that your actions are taking you where you want to go, I found the number one reason this is the case is that you aren't clear on your values. If you're really clear on your values, it's easy to be clear about what your activities each and every day should be. But if you're not crystal clear on your values, what's important to you, then I want you to know time management, activity management, life management is fairly pointless. Because not knowing what your values are, not knowing where you're going, it doesn't really matter where you go. This is the Alice in Wonderland problem. When the white rabbit asks her, which way should we go? She asked the white rabbit, which way should we go? Which way should we go? And the white rabbit says, where are you going? And she says, it doesn't really matter. And he says, well, it doesn't really matter which way you go then. If you don't have a clear set of values, priorities, objectives, that this is the direction I am headed in, what you do each day doesn't really matter. And this is sometimes baffling to people because they say, well, oh, no, it matters. But if you don't have a clear idea of where you're going, it really doesn't. So go through the values clarification sheet that we emailed you from the seminar. This is so critically important. This will help you clarify your 5 most important values. Do the exercises. And sometimes agents give me pushback. They say, Greg, those exercises are hard. They make me think. There's no easy answers. Yes, that's the whole point of the exercises, is to make you think, to get you clear on what's really important to you. Remember that we all must suffer one of 2 pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Now, what I found is this: discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons. See, in today, it's easy to discipline ourselves to work on our priorities, our values, if we've taken the time to clarify them. That's the discipline that only weighs ounces. But now, 5, 10 years from now, if you don't exercise the discipline today to get clear on these things, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll wake up and say, oh my goodness, look at where I am. How did I get here at this age, at this point in my life, in this particular situation? And that's where it's incredibly frustrating. So make sure you get clear on what you're trying to do. Life management at its best and in its most productive state is a balancing act between living fully in the present moment while you work on creating the future of your dreams. And this is an interesting balancing act. You've got to be fully present, fully here in this moment. And sometimes people say, well, that's why I'm partying, because I want to make sure I don't know if I'm going to get tomorrow. So I'm going to make sure I'm happy today. But now tomorrow comes and you're paying for the hangover that you got last night. And it's a balancing act to say, how do I make sure I live fully in this moment right now, take as much advantage of it, since I'm not guaranteed tomorrow, the next week, but if next week comes, how do I make sure I've set it up so I can truly accomplish what I want to accomplish? And that's always the interesting balance, but it's the great opportunity as well. You've got to be learned to be happy with what you currently have, who you currently are, as you work on getting what you want and becoming the person you want to be. This will make such a huge difference. Now, if we believe that we have to be perfect and that our self-worth as a person is dependent upon if we do everything perfectly, whether it's selecting a niche, whether it's helping people buy or sell real estate, whether it's talking to our spouse, our kids. What I found is that we will end up procrastinating and mentally beat ourselves to death. First of all, we have to understand that we are valuable individuals no matter what. Yes, we're all going to fail, we're going to struggle. And that doesn't take away from our value as individuals. We are individual people that have intrinsic value just because we are here, just because we are alive. And this is one of the great things. If we look at everybody out there and say, every person on the planet has value, including me, and we just accept that, then we don't feel this need to say, gosh, I've got to be perfect so that somebody will love me, so that somebody will want to do business with me, because we're going to make mistakes. And if we try and be perfect, we postpone so many things. One of the people that have had a huge impact on me is Marshall Rosenberg. And he wrote a book about communication. And one of the things he said in the book is that everything that is worth doing well is worth doing poorly. If it's valuable, the first time you try it, you aren't going to be perfect at it. And so it's worth doing even if you make mistakes. And I've really found that to be so helpful, because as real estate agents, as we learn marketing, as we learn anything, we're going to make some mistakes along the way. And it's important to say it's okay to make mistakes. We don't have to get it perfect before we try it for the first time. None of us are ever going to have all the information we would like to have. What you want to do is learn to gather as much information as you can in a reasonable period of time, and then make a decision. Don't take the time to try and just gather every bit of information, because you'll never get it. There's always something else. Successful people learn to make quick decisions and move on. Unsuccessful people take too long. They procrastinate about making a decision. They say, well, gosh, what if I don't have all the right answers? What if I don't have every bit of information? And now they become paralyzed with trying to gather everything. Remember, the 80-20 rule is critical in our life. You know, this is one of those things. Jim Rohn said, in our lives, there's a few things that make the vast majority of the difference. 20% of the things really make 80% of the difference. So what we have to do is learn how to focus on the 20% that matters the most. This is a way to separate the majors from minors. So we as individuals don't spend our life majoring in minor things. We're working on stuff. Yes, we're busy. And it seems important, but in the big scheme of things, gosh, it's relatively minor. Think about the major things that make a biggest difference in your real estate career, in your relationships, in your life. This is critically important. Now, what are the things over the longer run that make the biggest difference in your office, in your success as a real estate agent? Now, if you take a few minutes and really think about this, what is the highest dollar priority activity I can do? You won't get confused between movement and achievement. See, it's easy to get caught up doing things, because in real estate, there's always something else to do. But unless you're doing the right things, it won't help. So make sure you're focused on those things that really make the biggest thing, the biggest difference. Spend 80% of your time on things that will produce the greatest results over the long run. And this isn't hard to figure out. Think about it. It's easy to say, gosh, I'm going to chase a deal instead of working on my marketing, building my marketing plan, working on my strategic brand advantage. But over the long run, having a great strategic brand advantage, having a great marketing plan, having great marketing that's generating an ongoing flow of business is much more important and valuable than a single transaction. Now, I know when you're feeling financial pressure, it's easy to get caught up as well. I just need this transaction. The problem is, unless you take some time, You'll always be chasing another transaction, and you'll never take the time to work on the things that make the biggest difference. Ask clarifying questions before taking any action. And these are very simple. Sort of learn to peel the onion. The best actions are normally 2 or 3 layers deep. And every time you ask without thinking, it will come back to bite you. So ask yourself, is this really important? Or what's behind this? Is this problem that's presenting itself just a reflection of something underneath it? Ask, what are the issues behind the issue? You will save so much time by getting down to the core first, and then deal with something and deal with it one time versus dealing with the end result of those problems over and over again. This makes a huge difference. Start by learning how to think on paper. If you've got a problem, just write down the problem. Write it out. Say, what's the real issue here? What's the core? And I found that by getting it out of your head, getting it onto paper, you have so much more clarity. Also, you can go back and review it. Now, if you're writing this out on a computer these days, save those files, but now don't delete them. Save them so you can go back and look at the problems in the future. Now, what I found is that when you write things down, it helps you clarify, it remembers. Don't take action until you have a clear outline on paper. This will help you avoid mistakes. Now, people say, Greg, I don't have time to write it down. But this is the discipline that will help you make a big difference in your productivity. Because if you take the time to get clear, what are the real issues? What are the things that are going to be important? A little 10, 15 minutes before you take action, you'll find that you'll solve the problem so much faster, and you'll eliminate these types of problems so much more in the future. Then I want you to get clear on what you're happy about in your life right now. Start by doing the gratitude exercise from the Marketing Mastery Seminar. Then really work on getting your goals set. This is where you can start making a big difference in what is important to you. So do the gratitude exercise. What am I grateful for? What am I proud of? Write the answers down. And what I recommend is you start by reading these every morning. Because if you take a few minutes every morning, you read what is really important to you. What are you focused on? What are you grateful for? It's hard to have a bad day. Then get clear on your goals. So many people say, well, Greg, I just want to be more successful. That doesn't really help. I tried to make that clear at the seminar. You want to be very clear. Now, use my goal accomplishment guide. If you don't have a copy of it, email me. This is the guide I used as a real estate manager with my real estate agents. And I found this is very important. It starts by getting brainstorming about what's important to your life. And then it breaks your goals down into personal goals, short-term goals, and it has you write the goal, action steps, and the dates due. And you start with personal goals, short-term, long-term, then your business goals, short-term business goals, long-term business goals. Now, this will take some time to really get clear on. But what I found is this: once you're clear on your goals, now you say, okay, what is action step 1, 2, and 3? When are these due? It takes your goals out of just being theoretical, and it starts to create a framework for you to actually move them forward effectively. Then make sure you've summarized your goals personally, professionally, and review them at least once a week, if not every day. Just ask yourself at the end of the day, am I moving towards my goals? Did I make progress? These should be so important to you so that they're always in your mind. Now, I also want you to start to use a journal. A journal is a blank book that you carry around with you and allows you to get things out of your head and onto paper. For years, I used to come up with ideas, think, oh, that was a great idea. I need to do that. And then a few hours later, I would have already forgotten the idea. And it drove me crazy thinking, oh, that was really useful. Now, when an idea comes your way, write it down. If a problem comes your way, write it down. Rarely does a good idea interrupt you, so make sure you capture them when they do. This makes such a big difference because it allows you to have space mentally. You don't try and have to carry everything around. You can now get it out of your brain onto paper. And then the key with a journal is at the end of each day, just to review it. Now, what I found is highlight the things that really make a difference and then create a little index so that you can review things very quickly. Now, the problem is you've got to do this daily. It only takes 5-10 minutes at the end of each day. But if you just write things in a journal and you don't go back and you review it, now 5-6 months later, you may be able to go back and get value from it, but it'll take you too much time and you won't get the real value from it. So make sure you do this. This gives you a perfect memory. A journal helps you capture what's going on in your life so you can review and learn from your life experiences. See, if we don't do this, if we aren't learning from the experiences we have, we'll repeat them, the same mistakes. I found this is so incredibly helpful with relationships. With a client, you've told them the same thing. Well, don't keep telling the same thing. Say, how do I say it differently? With your spouse. So many people say, well, with my spouse, I end up having the same fight over and over again. Well, that's because they aren't writing down the challenge, looking at it, reviewing it, and saying, how do I approach this from a different perspective? These are so simple, yet so few people do them. And yet, when Jim got me on this, it made such a huge difference. Truly, your journals will become one of the treasures to leave for your kids, a legacy of your life's learning, so that now, as they're going through, they can read your life, what you learned in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. And now, in a few weeks of reading your history, they can take your wisdom, your knowledge, and be able to apply it to their lives. This is incredibly powerful and valuable. Now, also create a project file. Now, this is a briefing tool. Write it as if a knowledgeable person could pick it up and pick up any project that you're working on where you're left out. Now, what I found is that structuring a project file so that you have detail, here's what needs to happen next, here's what I'm working on, here's the vision, takes a little more effort, but I found it gets the project done so much more efficiently. And as you start building a team, you can delegate things because now, if everybody on your team is working on a project file, you can share project files. You can pick it up. If somebody's not there, you can pick them up. If they get sick, they're off for a few days. It doesn't matter. Anybody can pick up the project file and say, okay, here's what needs to happen next. It takes a little bit more discipline, but makes your life so much easier. Now, whenever you're ready to work on a project, pick it up and review what has been done, where you are, then go to work on it. This will also help you immensely in trying to figure out where you are. If you can't do something in one sitting, so many times people work a little bit on it, they set it aside, and now to get back to where they were, they've got to go back and review everything they did. A project file will help you avoid that. That's why you've got to end by summarizing what you've completed and the next action steps you should take. If you'll always end your project file entries with next action steps, now you can pick up that project file and know exactly what needs to be done. What I found is this: it's not the number of hours you put into each day, it's what you put into the hour that matters. And it seems like it's going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more effort to do some of these things. But what I found is that they actually save you so much time in the long run. They will make such a huge difference in the quality of your productivity of your life. Also, learn to master distractions. It's so easy to become distracted by things that take up time. There's so many things that vie for our time in today's world. And if you aren't clear on your priorities, it's easy to get caught up because it sounds interesting, it sounds exciting. But when something is vying for your time, ask yourself, is this going to move me towards my objective or not? No matter how interesting, how fascinating you might find something, unless it's taking you towards your goals, it's just not worth doing. Now, I've also found that you run your day or the day will run you. So here's my best suggestion. Don't start your day until you have it finished. If you have not thought about what you want to accomplish today, right after this webinar, sit down and just do a little plan for the day. What do I want to accomplish? What are my number 1, 2, and 3 priorities? How am I going to get those done? And plan the day. Now, what I found most useful is to make sure you write out the key things you want to accomplish for the day and what are your most valuable activities you can do. Don't make this super complicated. Just keeping focus on the big picture. This helps you focus on that 20% that makes the biggest difference for you. What I really want you to do is get in the habit of ending your day by planning tomorrow. You plan the day the night before. Now I found you go to sleep thinking about what you're going to be doing, and you're automatically primed for productivity the next day. So don't finish the day before you have it finished. Take a few minutes at the end of each day, plan out the next day, review the day that you've just gone through. Then, one day a week, think about the week. And I don't want you to get granular like you're on a daily plan, but go into what I call that bigger picture. What are the key things that I want to accomplish this week? What are the most important things? And then try and assign them to sort of a couple of days. I'm going to get to this, and this on this day. Or give yourself a couple days of flexibility there. And now when you're planning the day, you start by looking at the week and say, okay, what are the key things that I need to do? And you put it into the daily plan. And when you're doing it on a daily, you make it granular to the specific action steps. Now, if you'll do this every Friday, review the past week, what you worked on, what did you do, what did you not do, what did you not get done, why didn't you get it done? Do you still need to do it? If yes, when are you going to do it? When are you going to put it back into your schedule? This will make a huge difference for you. Then lay out the week ahead. Put the highest priority items for the following week on your schedule. Those things that are absolute mandatory, put them right into your schedule. Then repeat this process for the month. The last Friday of each month. Plan the month ahead. Review the month past. Now, planning a month requires a little bit more strategic thinking. Make sure that when you're working monthly too, you put your personal life into your monthly plan. So now it falls into your weekly and daily activities as well. This is where you're thinking about the big picture. Weekly and daily plans are granular. The monthly plan takes a little bit more strategic thinking. Then make sure you don't get too granular when you're planning the month. This is the big rocks. This is the things that are really important. You know, I think I heard the analogy once that our lives is like a giant glass bowl. And there's rocks, big rocks, little rocks, sand, pebbles. And we all got to fit into this one life called us. And if we put all the little things, the sand, the pebbles, the little rocks in, we find that we don't have room for the big rocks, the things that are truly important. But if we start by putting our big rocks in, what's the most important priority to you in your life? Your family, your financial security, providing great service. Now, all the little things that come in around that can be placed around the big priorities. And you can truly accomplish it all. And this is where it makes a big difference for you. Now, I actually recommend that you take a week every year and plan the year. Bill Gates said that one of the biggest things that he used to make sure that he was really moving in the right direction and helping Microsoft move forward was he took a week every year to get away and reflect on the past year and think about what do I really want to accomplish in the year ahead and really get it down on paper. And he said, I'd go away, no distractions, nothing. Now, you may want to do this with your significant other, but if you can leave your kids behind, that's great. This can make such a huge difference because it gives you a direction for the year ahead. And write out your goals, set your priorities, outline the broad steps you're going to take each month of the year ahead, and this will make such a big difference for you. Now, on a regular basis, I also want you to tap into the power of concentration. Create uninterrupted times that you can concentrate on the tasks that need concentrated effort. This is one of the biggest reasons why people don't get going on their marketing, because you're marketing, thinking about it, planning it, working on a landing page, writing an ad takes concentrated time. Starting and stopping, working 10 minutes here, picking it up, it's a huge waste of time because you won't make that mental connection that you need to be truly productive. So make sure that you have some concentrated time to get productive. Now, take some time out and think about every meeting that you have and do meeting preparation. Think about, okay, I have a meeting, whether it's a phone meeting, a personal meeting, what do I want to accomplish in that meeting? And if you're clear about the accomplishments that you want in that meeting, what do I need to prepare for? What information will likely come up? You'll find that you can make all your meetings so much more productive. Then, reviewing contracts. Every now and then, when you need to think about this, you need some quiet time to review the contracts for your clients. What are they trying to do? If you review this in advance of actually writing a contract, your contracts will be cleaner and more effective. If you're blogging, make sure that you have some uninterrupted time for your blog. Then uninterrupted time for strategic planning. Also, take each time each month and review your profit and loss statement as an individual agent. Remember, you're the president of your business. You need to look at it. Am I moving forward? Am I making money? Am I losing money? What is my true profit margin? What's not my gross commissions? What's my net income? And really understand that so that now you're spending money in places where it gets the best return on investment. Then don't let yes rule your life. Learn to say no to things that aren't truly in your priority. I know it's easy to get caught up in saying yes. But if it isn't taking you towards your goal, towards your personal and professional accomplishment, don't do it. Now, it's okay to give back every now and then, but don't do it out of guilt. Don't do it out of things. Do it only because it fits your long-term strategic values. Otherwise, just say no, and it's okay. Don't let your mouth overload your back. Never say yes to something that you don't really want to do. I promise it'll cost you more than you can ever imagine. But people say, well, I don't know how to turn somebody down. Learn. The way to do it is to say no. Learn to practice saying it. This will make a big difference. If you have any doubt on this, read Marshall Rosenberg's incredible book, Nonviolent Communication. Again, this is the best communication book I've ever read that really helps you get in touch with listening to that internal voice and then communicating it effectively. Now, a couple of quick tips on maximizing your efficiency. Learn to touch paper and email once. So many times we go through our email and we save things and we never even get back to them. And now we let things go undecided. We touch paper over and over again. We move it around. So many agents die of a disease called piles. They move piles of paper, piles of stuff around their office, into their car, at home, move it back to the office. Here's the best way to deal with this. When dealing with incoming correspondence of all types, email, voicemail, letters, Facebook messages, use the following system. What I want you to do is this. Check them when you have at least 20 minutes of time to focus. Then take one item at a time. Don't scan everything and say, oh, what's the most important? Just take each one item. Now, if something can be done, you get an email and you can take care of it within 5 minutes or less, just do that item. Don't worry about everything else. Just do that one thing and then move to the next one. If you think it's going to take more than 5 minutes to complete it, here's the key. At that point in time, delegate it, put it on your calendar, or give it to your assistant so that now you are dealing with it one time and now you know when it's going to get taken care of. The worst thing you can do is to say, oh, I need to get to that. I should think about when I'm going to do that. Right then and there, put it on your calendar. If you don't take care of this right now, the mental energy you use carrying it around will totally destroy you. Now, if you think you may want to come back to something later and you just don't know, and for some reason you would like to do it, save it, file it. File it simply in a place that you can do it, in your email, in a file cabinet. And what I found is this: throw everything else away, hit the trash button. And remember that with today's technology, you can find it even if you trashed it. But it's better to get as much as stuff you can out so that you don't have to deal with masses of information. Now, this will make you significantly more valuable to yourself, to your family, to your clients. A couple of the things on how to make yourself more valuable. Remember that you want to work on developing yourself. Personal development is one of the easiest ways to get more out of your time. Read a book a week. I will tell you, it's changed every aspect of my life. Always be learning and growing so that you're always getting better. Then take 20 minutes every day and meditate. Let me tell you, this makes such a huge difference. People say, Greg, I don't have 20 minutes a day. Then get 20 minutes less sleep. The research shows that if you actually meditate for 20 minutes every day, you will need less sleep, you'll function at a much higher level, and you'll keep your cognitive functions much older. It fights all kinds of things, senility, Alzheimer's disease. It makes a huge difference. Then exercise at least 4 days a week. Now, it doesn't seem like we ever have time to exercise, but exercise keeps your energy up. If you'll just do 20, 30 minutes of great cardiovascular, stretch your muscular system, challenge it, lift some weights. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, but you want to stress your body. One, you sleep better, but now your muscle mass, your lean muscle mass is there. You burn more calories, you stay healthier, your mind stays sharper. People say, well, gosh, I don't have time. No, this is the little self-discipline. See, 20 years from now, the not exercising will come back to haunt you in cardiovascular disease, a heart attack, a stroke. And now you'll pay so much more. Then take time off. This is so important. Now, when you're work. But when you take time off, also take time off. Be with your family. Don't mix the two. One of the worst things is when you go home at night, be with your kids. Give them 100% of your focus. Don't worry about what's going on at the office. If you've done some of the things we've talked about, you can release it when you're on vacation. Don't worry about what's going on at the work. Don't call the office. Don't check email on vacation. This will consume you. Now, you don't even get to enjoy your vacation. So many agents have this backwards. When they're at work, they're thinking about why their personal life isn't working as well as they could. They're worried about their marriage, their kids. Now they go home and they're worried about work because they feel the financial pressure. Wherever you are, be there. Give it 100% of your attention. It'll make a huge difference. Now, I'm sorry that we got started off a little rocky here today. And I know we're starting to run to our end of a time, but I'd like to open it up to questions about anything that you might have. And I'd love to take those for a few minutes. So I'm going to get rid of the sound here. All right, the sound looks fine. Okay. All right. Now, the question is, how do I download the slides? We are recording this, and Christopher will be sending out an email to everybody that signed up, so they'll get a recording of this webinar. So you'll get those in the next couple of days. Questions about anything we've talked about, comments. First of all, was this valuable and useful? And I know we probably lost some people with the challenges up front, but I always want to know, how are we doing? Is this useful and valuable for you as an agent? Because I know it's really important to make sure you're making progress. And I'd always love your feedback. Please post your comments about this webinar on my Facebook page, on my email page. All right, so I see some questions coming here, starting to panic me here for a minute. All right. So yes, all right. So yes, it was valuable. What was the Quantum Leap letter about? And the Quantum Leap letter is writing that one-page letter that outlines, at the end of my Quantum Leap, here's exactly what I want my life to look like. And to write that letter as if it was already a present reality. So I am making X number of dollars. I work X number of hours a week. I go on these vacations or these locations, and write a one-page letter of what your ideal life would look like if it was a reality. And then take 5 minutes every day, read that letter, and visualize yourself living that life. Then write down any ideas. How would I move forward? What's the next action step I can take to make that a reality? And that will get you such huge progress if you'll do that every day for 90 days. All right, Louise, thank you for the comments. What is the first thing I should do to grow my personal development? Well, I think the first thing you should do is get clear on what are your personal values, and am I living those personal values? Then I really think one of the easiest ways to start our personal development path is reading consistently. Picking a book a week of something that will help you personally, professionally. Work on the things that you need help on. If you're having some relationship issues, read 10 or 15 books on improving your relationships. I found reading a book won't make a big difference, but you read 10 or 15 and it makes a huge difference on your personal development. The next question is, task management, what do I need to focus on? These tips are very valuable, and I will tell you, if you will just plan the day, focus on your most productive activities, that will make the biggest difference for you. And Miranda, thank you for the comments about the seminar. And I really want you to stay focused on that. That's why I want you to work on that Quantum Leap letter, work on your goals, your priorities, and then keep me posted on your progress. And all right, Mary, thank you. And we'll look forward to seeing you on our conference calls next month. Remember that we are here for you each and every month. And go to HH Calls, register for next month's coaching webinar, put it on your calendar, and be here each and every month. Then please keep us posted on how you're making progress. If you need help with anything, remember we are here to help you move your real estate career forward. We're your marketing partners, so don't hesitate to call, email, because that truly makes the greatest difference for you if we stay actively involved. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate the kind comments about the webinar. And I look forward to having you guys here each and every month. And I noticed that we are into the hour. I do apologize for the technical problems we had at the beginning. Please send me an email, write a post on Facebook. I greatly appreciate that. And make this an absolutely fabulous week. I wish you great success in the week ahead. And as always, if there's anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate to call, email, send me a message on Facebook, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next month or seeing you at a seminar again soon.